Welcome to the Blessed Mindset Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Raquel Tosin, and you guys already know what I believe about mindset. Everything is about mindset. You want to be successful? Mindset. You want to be happy? Mindset. Everything is about mindset. So this year, 2022, we're focusing on the family. So we're changing our mindset about some things about family. And this month, we're in March, I want to focus on real estate. I wanted home ownership. I want to focus on these kind of things because I feel like this is how we help the family. Now, you guys know I am broadcasting on WYTV7, where we have a mission to empower, encourage, and educate. I believe that that's what I'm doing. So if you are enjoying the Blessed podcast, I need you to do me a favor and go to www.wytv7.org. Hit the green donate button. $5, $10, $50, anything that would help to keep me on the air. The other podcasters we have, also we're feeding families, not just at Thanksgiving, and we are sending kids to college. So go and hit that donate button, and it is a tax write-off. So my first guest, I'm excited. My first guest for the month of March, they are Tracy and Renard Sands, and they live up in the Washington State area. I am going to let them introduce themselves. This is my first time meeting them. I'm so excited. They came highly recommended by somebody I absolutely love. So I was like, I have to bring them on. And I want to talk about real estate from the West Coast to the East Coast, from the South to the Midwest, all of that. So these are my West Coast real estate professionals here to talk to us and to help us get the right mindset. Welcome to the Blessed podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, I'm Tracy. Yeah, whoop whoop. I'm Tracy, and
I'm Reynard.
Yep, and I've lived in Washington State for all my life, and I have been in real estate for 17 years. Prior to that, I had a career. I was working at Costco for 21 years and decided to leave and do what I love. And this real estate is definitely my passion.
Awesome. And Reynard, but you already know I love your name, Ray, right?
Well, thank you. Well, I'm originally from the East Coast, grew up in back East, and then I was stationed out here in Fort Lewis, Washington, and then was in the military. Then I did construction work. Tracy got so busy about 5 years ago, I decided to get my license to help her. And you talking about mindset, woo, this was definitely a big mindset for me, being a homeowner. So my wife helped me to get in that mindset. And boy, what a difference it has been for our family.
So we're going to have to just start right there. You done just started where we talk. How did she change your mindset about home ownership? And before we get to that, why didn't you think about home ownership? Do you know?
Well, one of the reasons were where I grew up at. I guess the way I grew up, and just be real blunt, I don't know how any other way to do it. I thought only white folks own homes. You know, I'm just going to be real honest with you. And when I met Tracy, me and Tracy, my vision just was like, do what? She was talking about buying homes and renting out houses. And I'm thinking, girl, you must be crazy. Homes. Yes. And I made enough money. I had enough money. I made enough income, everything. But my mind, like you said, up in my thinking was just like, nah, that ain't something we do. And which I knew Black people own homes, but it's what you taught, what you heard, what you grew up into, and what you around. And I think the thing for me was just the process. I never had no one to walk me through it. And when she helped walk me through it, I was really like, man, this is crazy. I mean, what we say now, if you rent a house or if you renting, you could be owning. And it's just the knowledge we don't have, the thinking. So that was the thing that helped to get me out of it. And now my mission is everybody I know. If I know you, you're gonna own a home. You need to own a home.
I love it. I love it. Because this is like really important to me. Because what you said is so deep to me, because you say, I didn't even know Black folk owned homes. Well, I actually came from the Midwest, and we owned homes. in the Midwest, right? But now our homes are really small. I grew up in a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom, but we did have a basement, but we had a very small house. So I was always okay with owning a house, but I never thought, I thought you had to be rich to own a big house or to pay a lot of money for a home.
Yeah.
And then when I went to Florida, I was able to get, a nice size home, but it still wasn't a lot of money. But when I came to the West Coast, baby, it was like, wait a minute, these people paying how much for houses?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? So I was just like, yeah, I can't be a homeowner. And I was just like, only homeownership is for the rich people on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys hear that up in Washington area? Especially Seattle.
I don't, so for him, his being such a different background where all I knew was home ownership. That's all I knew. My mom was a single mom raising 3 kids, and we had a house. So I didn't know any differently. She taught me how to budget. I've always been really frugal with money. Credit score really meant a lot to me. I mean, that was ingrained in me. And, I think for me, I bought my first house when I was 20.
Oh, girl, stop.
Yeah.
I actually did buy my first house when I was in my maybe 20, 20, 21. Yeah, I was. Well, no, it was 22. I was like 22 when I bought my first, because I was in law school, and my dad was like, we need to buy a property. And I was like, yeah, let's buy something instead of paying the rent to the people.
Right. And I think a lot, and then I bought my second house when I was 20. I checked today, 24. And then went through a divorce, got rid of all that, went to renting, but then we bought our house together, our first house in 1999. And we were fortunate enough that it was my childhood home. And so we bought it from my parents. And so we literally just sold that and are completely debt free now. 100%.
Oh, praise God for debt freedom.
Yes, it's quite, you know what? It's very freeing. It's quite wonderful. But I think too, what a big misconception is for people, even here, here in the West Coast. Yes, it is pricey. I'm not going to lie. Towards Seattle, which that was where our house was in West Seattle. So when we sold it, that's what enabled us to be. We live in Kent, Washington, but our other home was in West Seattle. So when we sold that was able to, make us debt free.
Right.
But I think for homeowners or home buyers feel like they have to, come up with 20% down in order to buy a home. And that's a big misconception. We teach, so there's a program out here that's called the Washington State Housing Finance Commission, and they'll pay your down payment for you. And so, and that's up to, they'll do the 3% and the 3.5%. So an FHA loan is 3.5%. There's conventional loans that are 3%, but they'll pay that for you. And when it's not let's call it, it's such an aggressive market right now. It's a seller's market, right? So they'll get shifts. Sometimes we're even able to get the seller to pay the buyer's closing costs. And then they're out of pocket nothing except for their earnest money, which typically in most cases, they get that money back, but they're only out literally the money for an inspection, which is under $1,000. So we work really hard to teach people about that and talk to people about that.
I have to stop you because you said a mouthful, and I want to make sure that everybody heard you when you said that there's a misconception that you have to put 20% down.
Yep.
Very, very important that you do not have to. So you don't have to say, I have to wait until I save this much, especially on the West Coast where the homes are like $600,000.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a lot of money. You gotta save 120. You're like, oh my goodness.
I don't have that. Holy moly. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's my college. A lot of people have college debt that high. So.
Exactly. 3.5% for FHA loan. 3%. Now, I didn't notice that conventional. I only thought that FHA is where you had to go to be able to put so few money down.
Right. So little down.
In a conventional loan, you can do that. And let's just share, because people are probably like, conventional loan, FHA, what's the difference? I'm gonna say what I think the only difference that I know is that PMI never goes
Yes.
away when you get an FHA.
Yes,
If you get
exactly.
a conventional, you get the you have to pay that insurance, the PMI insurance, but it will drop.
Yes,
But the
it'll go
FHA,
away.
you have to refinance to
Correct,
stop
to
paying
eliminate that. And
and
that
that's huge.
happened. That happened with the crash, though. So when we had that major issue back in '09 and all that, and the housing market just tanked, Fannie Mae or FHA did that to protect themselves. However, here's the thing. Sometimes based on the other thing, the other misconception is people always say, oh, my credit's bad. Well, how do you know it's so bad? Well, who told you that, right? So we go through and we're like, who told you that? Where did you hear that you have to be, in the 800s or, 700s even to buy a home? We do, so we have a lender that we work with all the time. And let me go back a little bit on that Washington State Housing Finance Commission. There are only certain lenders that are approved to do those type of loans through the commission, but it's super easy. You can take a class. And even it used to be even realtors. There were only certain realtors that could also be that are a preferred realtor to do that. Now they've opened it up and not, and that restriction is not there, but it is a restriction for lenders. And you have to take the lenders have to take an all-day, 2-day, all-day class. Right. And then realtors, it's a 1 day, 8-hour class. And I still recommend, realtors to take those classes because it is beneficial. The other nice thing about it is being a realtor, because I've taken that class, I can now partner with a lender and teach those classes, which then in turn brings me business, right? Because now I'm educating people with this class. And, it's a 5-hour class, so there is commitment, but at the end you get a certificate that says, I took this class, and if I meet all these criteria, I then get my down payment paid for me. So if you're gonna go rent an apartment, don't you have to put, typically, it's been so long since I rented, you have to do first, last, and a damage deposit.
And now some of them even ask for more,
right?
Because of the different mandates that have come down here on the West
From
Coast.
COVID.
So now some of the owners are asking for 2-3 months in advance for them to put down. And let me interject with this: being a veteran, just if you're a veteran, because I'm a veteran, you don't have to put anything down. You put zero down, and also you only need a 600 credit score. It's even less for a veteran, and so that's my mission. It can even be less than that. There's some lenders it can be even less than that. So I have a lot of veteran friends didn't even know they could own, and because of so much misinformation that's out there. So and now once I learned, and like you were saying earlier, the mindset. Once I learned, it's like my mission to help everyone I know I come in contact with. Man, you have to own a house. And it's amazing how many of my friends, I can't own a home. I can't. What you mean? And they make some of them working great jobs. Making wonderful income, but they just don't know they can own.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you said, I love when you said this is about a mindset. Sister, it is totally a mindset, and especially people in our community, how they are misinformed because they just don't even know the process and they scared of it. That's what I used to be. It's the mistrust that's out there, and it's not that I didn't know people could own home, but like you said, like even the house I live in, people think, man, you guys live in this type of house. And it's like, you probably paying, even before we paid the house off, they were paying more in rent than I was paying for my house payment, because they just don't know. And what I see a lot with a lot of people, they overpay. We have this thing, we always have this little rule called delayed gratification.
Okay. Okay.
People want to live, spend, and buy stuff now, not to see what they can have later. It's the investment. I believe real estate is one of the greatest ways to best saving their plan there is, because real estate is constantly going up. And if you learn the right techniques, you can continue to build on it rent, you could take it, use it to rent if you want to buy another property. But first you got to get in the door. And I tell people your first home do not have to be your dream house.
Nope.
Just get in the door, get in the game.
Yeah.
Yes, just get in the game. Hey, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to ask, we're going to find out what you guys think is the top 3 things that people need to prepare for home ownership. We will be right back.
Are you ready to buy a new home or refinance a home? Call Quentin Johnson at Homestar Financial. Homestar Financial offers competitive rates for home improvement, new construction, FHA, VA, conventional, and USDA loans. Take advantage of today's low interest rates by being a smart and prepared buyer. Get pre-approved today and find out just how much house you can afford. Call Quentin Johnson at Homestar Financial, 704-526-4007, extension 50306. Homestar Financial makes home ownership a reality. In MLS 161685, equal housing lender.
Back with the Sands, and we are talking real estate, home ownership, and we're talking about it in Washington State, West Coast. Okay, so what I do want, tell everybody, what is the average home price in Seattle?
I would say easily 800 to 850 around there.
800 to 850. I know there are some people that live in the South, in the Midwest. They're like, what?
Yeah, and that's not a mansion.
Yeah, that's the average.
Yeah, that's maybe a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and that when you're saying Seattle, you're encompassing quite a bit of Seattle. But if people want to live towards, further towards the city, it's even more than that. So.
And I mean, I've been to Seattle. Seattle is a beautiful city. Like, it is absolutely gorgeous. And I do like, my family lives in Tacoma, so it's, that whole SeaTac, whatever. Yep. But it's beautiful. And so I can imagine people like, oh man, I would want to live here. Then they hear those home prices, and then they're like, yeah, no, I'm not going. All right. And then or they say, that's okay, I'm going, but I'll rent. Tell them how much average roundabout is rent.
Anywhere from 3,000, like 3,500, especially the closer you get to the heart of Seattle, you're at minimum $3,000 a month. And that's probably low, honestly. You're probably closer to 3,500.
And in certain areas, you will pay a studio $2,500 for a studio.
Okay, see, right there, this is the reason why I tell people that home ownership is really something to look into, because $3,500 for an apartment, and I'm gonna bring somebody on to talk taxes with y'all in April. But let me tell you, you're not writing that off.
No.
You're not writing that off.
No.
You don't get to write off any of that. Whereas if you own the home, you might pay a little bit more than that, but not a whole lot more than that. No. And it's a tax write-off. You're writing off the interest.
Yes. The interest, that's right, that you pay. Mm-hmm.
And it's yours. Nobody.
Right. You can do whatever you want to it.
And the other thing about renting, where people like that, those people can tell you gotta go. I had the best apartment in Redondo Beach here in LA. I had a peekaboo view of the ocean. There was a 2-story apartment. It had a door upstairs, so my son, he could go outside, which wasn't good when he was a teenager. But as he got older, it was like good because I didn't have to. But they told me, oh, you have to go in 60 days because we're renovating and we're going up. And I was like, well, can I come? Well, you have to apply again. Kicked out of your home?
Yeah.
You got 60 days to get out.
Right.
And I pay my rent religiously, all of that. And it's like, really? What? And I was just like, that is a horrible feeling.
Yes.
You get kicked out of your home.
Right. Right.
That's not something that can happen when I own it, unless I don't pay it.
I was just gonna say, unless you don't pay that.
Dr. McKell, rent right now is going up 18 to 20%. I mean, think about that. If you're paying $2,000, 20%, that's $400 increase. And I'm thinking, whoa. And see, once that house mortgage is there, it's set. You ain't got to worry. The taxes might go, but the mortgage is set. It's never going to change again on you. So that's what I get people, the thinking, the mindset, all of that. Rent them guys, landlords, when them leases are up, they can adjust however they want.
That's so true. Another reason why home ownership is the goal. And listen to what I'm saying. I'm not here to make you feel bad if you're renting. That is not what I'm here to
No.
do. I rented for a long time.
Right. I did too.
I rented
Yes.
for a long time.
Yes.
And but I did have to have a mindset shift.
That's right.
And that's
Yes.
all I'm here for.
Yes.
For the people who need the mindset shift. There may be people out there that say, I'm good, I don't want to go nowhere.
Mhm.
This is not
Right.
for you. This is
Right.
for the people who kind of want to sort of, but they don't feel like they can. They don't know. This is for you. We are here for you because we want you to have that mindset shift into home ownership.
Yes.
Now, get through the 3 things that somebody needs to do to prepare. Well, we're going to already tell you the first thing you have to do. So we're going to do the 3 things after the first thing. The first thing is to change your mindset.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
You can, and you're worthy of.
Yes.
Yes. Come on.
The very first thing, and then we're gonna give y'all 4. That the bonus is to you are worthy. You can
Yes.
do it. Change your
Yep.
mindset. All right.
Yep.
So what's the first thing that you think after they got their mind together to prepare? You
I
already
would
started
say-
talking about it.
Yes. Well, I think honestly, so I think for me, know what your credit score is. Know what is on your credit score. And don't just think that because, just because you have something in collections still doesn't mean you can't buy a house. Sometimes people may have a medical bill or student loans on, as let's say a ding on their credit score. And people say, oh, and it's, what do you call it? They've missed payments on it, things like that. So it's a
Right.
negative hit, right? Well, so they're like, oh, I need to pay these medical bills. Well, the problem is, so once something is sleeping, okay, so now you haven't been paying this and it's sleeping. You go to pay it,
Wake it up.
it wakes up and it's
Wake
now
up
made
the
your credit
giant.
score worse. Yeah, you poked the bear. Okay.
Poke the bear.
And here's the other thing. Medical bills don't affect your
Yes.
home buying. You don't have to pay those off to buy.
That's good to know.
So that's right. So your best bet is to talk to, I say a lender. I don't really go to a banking institution, just because they're 9 to 5. And if you're normally in your job, it's kind of hard to meet with somebody at a bank.
Right.
The difference is a lender, all they work on loans. So they're gonna, the only way they get paid is if you buy a home, right? So if you go and talk to that lender, find out what your credit score is. You don't even have to go in. You could, look up a lender. I have great ones, Guild. Anyway, call them and they'll run your credit for you. There's no charge. They'll run it and tell you what's on there and can tell you what to take care of and how to get your credit score up.
That's really good to know.
Yes.
The next step for me is a simple one, but it's something we have to get disciplined, especially in our society. Do not spend more than you earn. It's real simple. That's the simple concept. That's what we call delayed gratification. And do not work to pay everyone else. Make sure you paying yourself. We call it the 80-20 rule. You live off of 80% of what you make. Take 10% if you give to a charity organization, charitable organization, your church or something. And then you take 10% you put away in savings. Or you put 20%. You have to discipline yourself. Okay. People don't like to use budget this day. When you see that commercial with the credit card, we was talking about this earlier. I see the commercial, Visa. All I need is this Visa card. I can take this
on a vacation
to Hawaii or somewhere, the Caribbean. You get approved, and then you come home, you $10,000 in debt.
Yeah. And now
because
you
couldn't wait. You can do it later, but you have to have it now. So you got to have that discipline. I do not spend more than I make, and I do not work to pay everyone else. I'm working to pay me. So if you can budget, and if you know where your goal is, where you're trying to get to, and if you can budget and live off of 70%, put 20% away and give whatever you want. But that's the biggest challenge I see. People just overspend. And look, I believe in my heart that everyone can own a home. You just got to discipline yourself and stop spending more than what you make.
Yes, because people really do hate the word budget.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I just tell people, think about it this way, be more intentional with your money. Because what happens is the reason why we have to be intentional because our money goes where we don't even know where it goes a lot of
That's
times.
right.
We have to be intentional where our money goes. So that's why you have your budget because you know these are the bills. And and I tell people, don't say no to Starbucks if that's something that you really want to do, but don't go all the time. Have a Starbucks budget. I only are
Right.
going to spend this
Yes.
much money at Starbucks. When that money is gone, guess what? No more Starbucks
That's
visits.
right. Yep.
Movie theaters, all that. Like, just be intentional
Yes.
because especially if you want to buy a home, you have to be intentional because you want to put that earnest money away. You want to
Yep.
have money so you can buy a new couch. Come on
Or a
now.
new washer and dryer,
Or a
maybe.
new washer and dryer. Because
Mhm.
nobody moves into a home and not want to buy something new.
Yes,
Right.
that's right. That's
So
right.
be intentional and know that that's what you're
Right.
gonna do, so you can save that money. But be intentional with your money. So we got to know your credit,
Yes,
find
know
and
your
talk
credit.
to a lender,
Yep.
then be disciplined, have delayed gratification, don't
Yep.
spend so much, have the budget, be intentional with the money. What's the third one?
Stick to the plan.
Yeah, stick to that. Well, and even, going back to the other one, when you said have you can have your Starbucks, but I find too is paying cash. Because there's more pain in it.
That's
There's
right.
a pain in that. If you're, instead of swiping that card, even with a debit card, you still, like when I go grocery shopping, if all I have is my debit card and I put 30 things in my basket and my list was only for 20 things, but I deviated, right? And I swipe that card, there is no pain involved with that. But if I
Right.
have $50 in my my wallet that I know goes towards my groceries and my things for that week, then I'm going to be controlled, right? I'm going to take only that $50 and this is what I have to spend this week. Because like you said, it's a mindset, and that has to be part of your mindset. I think is just the pleasure versus pain principle.
Yeah, you have to stick to the plan. Even us, people think because you debt free, you just go and do what you want. No, we even give each other an allowance. You still give yourself an allowance. Now we call it walk around money. Wham, walk around money. She can buy whatever she wants, but when that walk around money is gone, you done, baby, until you get that allowance again.
Another 3 months later.
I know them shoes look good, but you'll get them next month or whatever.
Yep.
But that's what we do. You have to stick with it. And that's just a mindset I even had to learn. I said, oh my God, you just got to stick with the plan. If you decide to leave that plan, that's what the third one I would say, stick with the plan. I know it sounds like
it's simple, but it's
if you don't stick with that plan, it is so easy to get off course.
And look at it a lot. Look at that plan every day. One thing I do is if I have something, like I said, I visualize myself in it. And then if it's something that I want, if there's a car that you want or whatever, now we're talking about houses, but if it's a house you want, get a picture of a house, stick it on your mirror. You look in the mirror every single day, multiple times a day, and maybe cut out a little person of you. You have a picture somewhere and cut it out and stick it on that house. And you're visualizing yourself in that house.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. These are the time is going by really fast. What I did because I'm gonna call you Ray since I'm Ray. Ray.
Yeah, that's all good. Hey, that's great people named
You're
Ray.
a pastor. I don't think we talked about that, but you're a pastor. And so, I wrote the book Why Church Folk Poor when I was dealing with my mindset and being able to buy the house. What would you say to the children of God about home ownership, about having money, saving, for their children's children? Like, what would you say to them that, that they could feel? Something, that's, and let me just say, a lot of times we don't hear these kind of things in church.
Yes.
About home ownership, saving money, and all that. We hear a lot about giving money, but we don't hear a lot about saving money and buying homes and all that stuff.
Well, Dr. Ray, what I do is I do a biblical Prosperity and Success series every Friday. I teach every Friday. And it's about just little principles, what the Bible says about us handling money. And one of the things you said, what would I say to church people? You have to be faithful over little. So many people, you know, if they see your lifestyle, they want to live your lifestyle, but they're not at your lifestyle. Just be faithful with what God has given you. And the Bible says he'll make you ruler over much. But I tell people like this, if I gave you $100 and said, okay, take this $100. I know that don't sound like a lot. And I ask you to take that $100 and go and invest it. And then I come back and I find out you wasted that $100. So why would I want to give you $200 if I know you don't know what to do with the $100? And I know, and it's not dumbing down people, but you have to get that in your spirit that God is looking to see how much can he trust you with, you and I with.
Release, exactly. Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. We are out of time.
Oh, thank you.
Darn it, that really did go by fast.
It did, and we have had so much, and we've had fun, and I hope that we have imparted a lot of nuggets for you to consider home ownership if you don't already have a home. If you already have a home, guess what? Share this with somebody who doesn't. Share this with your children, your 20-year-olds, your 30-year-olds. Share it, share it, share it.
Please reach out.
I want everybody listening to this podcast to get a home.
Yes, I'm with you, sister.
And that looks like many things. It can be a condo. It can be, you know, but just something
that you own, that no one can take
yours.
from you.
Yes.
So until next week, everyone, be blessed.
Yes. God bless.